Hi. I'm sorry I haven't read a book in a while. It is April 8th today, I think, Wednesday. And I wanted to share a book with you. This one has a boy in it who has a birthday. And I know that during this quarantine, I've missed a few of my students' birthdays. And I feel bad about that because I love when I can say happy birthday to my students. And it also has a kid who really misses his grandpa. And I know right now with the quarantine, we miss our family members a lot. The ones we see, we're getting tired of. But the ones that we can't see, we miss them a little bit. So anyway, it's called A Gift from Papa Diego. And it's also available at the library and online in Spanish. If you want to hear it, it's Un Regalo de Papa Diego. So it's a little long too, so you might want to get comfortable. I really love the pictures. They're done with clay. Somebody made all these images with clay. So here's the first one, the first page, and it says, little Diego thought of his Papa Diego all the time. He thought of Papa Diego when he woke up in the morning. He thought of him when he ate lunch, and he thought of him when he saw the sun setting in the west. When little Diego learned the meaning of a new word, he wanted to run and tell his grandfather. When he discovered that tadpoles turned into frogs, he wanted to ask his grandfather and tell him why. Maybe little Diego loved his grandfather as he was life itself because he was named after him. He had the same name as his grandpa. Or maybe it was because they were born on the same day of the year. Not the same year, but the same day. Or maybe it was because little Diego could sense that he was the old man's hope in this world. That was what his grandfather always told him. Little Diego, eres mi esperanza, which means you're my little hope. But they lived in different countries, and little Diego did not get to see his grandfather very often. If I could see my Papa Diego every day, little Diego would say to himself, then everything would be as perfect as a sky full of summer clouds. One day, when little Diego was thinking of his Papa Diego, he asked his father, how come Papa Diego never comes to visit us? Diego's father did the best he could to explain. Your Papa Diego's getting old, and Chihuahua is very far away. Can't he just get in his car and drive here? No, mijo. Papa Diego doesn't know how to drive, and he doesn't have a car. Can he come on the bus? Well, his father thought maybe, but you see, sometimes it's hard to cross the border. Little Diego didn't understand about borders, but he pretended to understand. Oh, well, why don't we just go and pick him up? Mijo, Papa Diego likes living in Mexico. He doesn't want to move with us. Okay, well, can we just move to Chihuahua then, Papa? His father smiled. No, Dieguito, we live here. Don't you love Papa Diego? Seguro que sí. He's my father. I love him like you love me, but we just live in different cities, in different countries. Sometimes that happens. Quien sabe? Maybe someday you'll want to live somewhere else in a different country, but that doesn't mean that we don't love each other. No, Papa, I never want to live away from you. Are you sure Papa Diego doesn't want to come live with us? Yes, mijo, he likes it just fine. Chihuahua is where he lives. What about us? Well, we're in his heart too. Oh, little Diego smiled, but he wasn't happy. He wanted to live in the same place as his Papa Diego. He imagined that they would talk and laugh and be best friends. When you love someone, he thought, you can tell each other your secrets and keep the secrets in the deepest part of you. He imagined talking to Papa Diego about everything. He imagined Papa telling him about things too. And he practiced his Spanish every day just in case Papa Diego decided to come and visit him. He wanted to be ready. One day, Diego's father gave him his old collection of Superman comics. Diego said, what are these? And he said, mijo, those are my old comic books. Diego, who was only a little bit aware of Superman, was a little puzzled by his father's gift. And then he said, was this your hero? And his father said, yes, mijo. He was a big hero. When I was a little boy, I didn't know any English, not one word. I only knew Spanish. But my uncle started giving me these comic books, and I would read them, and little by little, I learned to read in English. I had to work hard, but I loved Superman. Dieguito smiled at his father and then stared at the man in the cape on the cover of the comics page. And he said, why did you like him? And he said, because he could fly. Really? Diego's father smiled at him, seguro que sí, he could fly. And then he said, just read the books. Well, I don't know how to read that well. Well, give it a try. Poco a poco. The pictures help you read it. After that day, little Diego became enchanted with his father's old comic books. He would read them and read them and read them, and he wondered what his Papa Diego would think of Superman. His big sister Gabriela began complaining to their mother. All he does is come home from school and read those dumb comic books. Ay, mija, her mother said, he's not hurting anyone, and besides, he's learning how to read. Let him read the comic books. But no one knew what little Diego was really dreaming of when he read about the man who could fly over all the buildings in the world. No one knew. Every evening before he went to bed, Diego imagined that he was Superman and that he could fly. And guess where he flew? He flew to see his Papa Diego. He thought, if I could get a Superman suit, then I could fly over the border to Chihuahua and I could see Papa Diego. I could see him every day after school. Diego's mother sang softly to herself and she peeled some roasted green chiles. I'm making chile rellenos. Little Diego loved chile rellenos. No one could make them as good as his mother. He could almost taste them. He watched his mother as she checked the pot of fresh beans that she was cooking. She looked at little Diego. Hey, your birthday's in 2 weeks. What do you think you're going to get? He immediately said, I want a Superman suit. A Superman suit? I thought you liked video games. No, Mom. Not video games. I want Superman suit. She wiped her hands on her apron and touched his cheek. Well, okay, I'm sure your father will do his best. Go take a bath. But I want some chile relleno. Well, you're going to have to wait till dinner. His sister Gabriela, who had been listening on their conversation, followed little Diego to his room. She started making fun of him. A Superman suit? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It's not dumb. Just wait. When I get my Superman suit, I'll be able to fly, and I'll go see Papa Diego every day after school. His sister said, you think you're going to be able to fly? You're dumber than I thought. Diego shouted, just leave me alone. Go away. As soon as Gabriela finished taunting her brother, she walked back to the kitchen and smiled at her mother, who was putting the first batch of chile rellenos into the frying pan. Are you finished with your homework? Her mother said. Gabriela said, I know why Diego wants a Superman suit. Oh, you want to tell me about it? Well, it's because he thinks that he's going to get a Superman suit and then he'll be able to fly to go visit Papa Diego. Gabriela said, boys are so dumb. Her mother said, oh, just be patient. He's a little boy. He loves his grandfather. Some boys don't care for anything but about their grandfathers. Your brother's special. And besides, you never know. On the morning of his birthday, little Diego woke up to the sound of singing. He opened his eyes and he smiled when he saw his mother and his sister Gabriela singing Las Mañanitas, and his father was playing the guitar. Their voices singing in Spanish and the sound of the guitar made him very happy. But they also made him a little sad because he thought about his Papa Diego, who was so far away. When everyone finished singing, he hugged all of them. His mother led them to the kitchen where they drank some special champurrado that she had made just for the occasion, along with little Diego's favorite cookies, which were called bizcochos. Little Diego said, I love this. And she said, I made them just for you. And he said, they're the best. He turned to his father and said, okay, isn't it time for you to tell me the story about how I was born? Little Diego's father rubbed little Diego's head and said, it's time. You see, it was very early in the morning and it was very cold outside and it was still dark when your mother woke me up. There's a knock at the door, she said. Who could be knocking at the door at this hour of the morning? It's not even light. I rushed to the door and when I opened it, there was your Papa Diego. He was happy and laughing, and he gave me one of his big abrazos. I asked him what he was doing in El Paso, and he said he had had a dream that you were being born and that you looked just like an angel, so he had come to see you for himself. And as soon as he spoke, your mother started yelling that it was time for you to get born, so we drove to the hospital, and 2 hours later, you showed up, and you were just perfect. Gabriela said, where was I when all this happened? Oh, your Papa Diego was holding you in his arms the whole time, and you were a perfect angel too. Diego liked this story. He said, Mom, it's my birthday. Do I still have to go to school? Of course. But when you get home, I'll have a special meal all ready for you and some birthday cake and maybe a surprise. His father winked at him. Diego laughed and reluctantly got ready to go to school. As he and Gabriela walked out the door, he kept thinking about the presents he might get when he returned home that evening. Maybe he would get a Superman suit. He imagined flying over the border to Chihuahua to visit Papa Diego tonight. His sister said, I know what you're thinking. No, you don't. Yes, I do. You're thinking about that dumb Superman suit. Get a life, Diego. Why do you have to be so mean to me on my birthday? I'm not being mean, I'm just being real. Just wait till your birthday. And then he stuck out his tongue. After school, little Diego made his sister run home. Why are we running? Because it's my birthday, little Diego yelled. But Gabriela knew he was just in a hurry to get home to see if he got that silly Superman suit. When little Diego ran into the house, his mother showed him the cake she had baked for him. It looks great, Mama. He could hardly wait to blow out the candles and eat it. But then he saw a box. It was wrapped in red wrapping paper with blue ribbon. Can I open it? When your father gets home. Little Diego thought his father would never get home, and finally he got home and he said, Now can I open it? Yes. Little Diego grabbed the box, ripped it open, and pulled out the Superman suit that he had been wishing for. I got the Superman suit! Without waiting 1 second, he ran to his room, ripped off his clothes, and changed into his Superman suit. He knew that the cape he was wearing was better than the wings of a bird. He ran into the kitchen where his father and sister were setting the table, and he yelled, I'm gonna fly! Just watch me, I'm gonna fly! He ran outside, and he leapt into the air, and he was certain that in just a matter of minutes he could get to Papa Diego's house. But instead of flying, he fell really hard on the ground. He started crying. I can't fly. It's not fair. I can't fly. He got up off the ground, ran to his room, took off the Superman suit, and threw it in the trash can. His father picked him up. He cried, I just wanted to see my Papa Diego. It's okay, mijo. I'll tell you what. Why don't we go in the kitchen and get some champurrado? We have some left from this morning. I don't want any champurrado. Ay, mijito, I promise. If you go in the kitchen, you'll feel better. I promise. And after that, we can have some flautas with guacamole. It's your favorite. Your mom made them just for you. I'm not hungry. Ay, but you have to eat if you're going to have some cake. Little Diego wiped away his tears. Okay, he said softly, though he did not believe anything his father had told him. When his father left the room, he put on his normal clothes, stared at the useless Superman suit, and walked slowly in the kitchen. But when he reached the door of the kitchen, he saw a familiar figure sitting at the table. He could not believe what he was seeing. Papa Diego, he yelled. Papa Diego, you came to visit. Seguro que sí, he said. I wanted to see my Dieguito. Diego ran to his side and jumped into the old man's lap. Papa Diego, you're what I wanted. You're what I wanted for my birthday. Sí, mijo, I know. Did you fly here? No, mijito, I don't know how to fly. I came on a bus. On a bus? But Dad said you never come to visit because it's far and you're old and it's hard to cross the border. Mijito, he said quietly, tonight Chihuahua didn't seem so far and I don't feel so old. And it was not so hard to cross the border. The border is nothing if you really love the people on the other side. Diego laughed. He wasn't really sure what Papa Diego was talking about, but it didn't matter. He got up off Papa Diego's lap and served them both some champurrado. Everyone sat at the kitchen table and talked and laughed and ate, and everyone was happy, even Gabriela. Little Diego knew he would remember this day for as long as he lived. He looked at his Papa Diego and kissed him on the cheek. Maybe they would always live in different countries, but tonight they lived in the same house, and he felt as warm as the burning candles on his birthday cake. And that's the end of the book. Again, it was a gift from Papa Diego, and I hope you enjoyed my story. And take care till next time.